Next group, thank you. Next group of speakers, David Luce, Suzanne Brooks, and then Jerusalem. And then Carl.
My question is for the panel or for anyone in the audience that can answer it. You made mention of Ed Code 48900. Under Ed Code 48900, Section B, it says that the superintendent of a school district or principal may use his or her discretion to provide alternatives to suspension or expulsion, including but not limited to counseling and anger management program for people subject to discipline under this section. I say right there, that is an opportunity where we can stop and get this all in the bud right here, right now, by going to every superintendent and encouraging them in the most friendly manner that they have it within their right and within their power to stop the expulsion and extension pipeline.
But they
Hold on.
But my point is, the superintendents have the discretion. So forget all these hearings, forget all this other crap that they're doing. The superintendent can stop it. A single principal can stop it and provide an alternative. Now, I don't know about any other advocacy or any other research or actions, but I think that should be one of the action items that we take away is exploring what actual power or opportunity 48900 Section B actually gives the community to deal with this issue.
Okay, hold on. David, were you posing it to a panel as well as the audience?
Anybody who can answer that question.
Okay, so who would like to address that question that hasn't spoke? Okay, Yvonne, and then I saw a superintendent here.
I'm Yvonne Wilson, and I'm the founder of Disciple dedicated to serving children in public schools under expulsion and suspension. Superintendent,
Can you repeat that?
She just
the
defined it.
Disciple is a nonprofit that I started, and for dedicated individuals serving children in public schools to limit expulsions and suspension. To address your issue, more than half the time, the superintendent has no knowledge the child is even being expelled. It stops with the principal. That's where you have to attack it.
You can't, a principal can't expel a student.
Yes, they can.
They can recommend it, and it's approved by the board, correct? It's approved by the board.
But they never get.
Okay, hold on. Let her finish.
The principal makes the recommendation, but for that information to even make its way to the superintendent, rarely doesn't ever go there. You have to nip it in the bud.
But the superintendent isn't, and we have a superintendent
Yes,
in the room.
okay.
But my understanding is that the superintendent is the chief administrative officer, and everything in that board packet, the superintendent knows about. And if the
Supposed to.
superintendent has a policy, if the superintendent were to institute a policy in the district, that said we are not going, these are the priorities that we're going to utilize in terms of dealing with discipline and expulsion to the bottom of the list, then that's going to drive the staff recommendations and everything else. Just because the principal makes a recommendation that you expel someone doesn't mean that it's rubber stamped all the way up the
More
chain.
than likely it is, though.
I see him.
That sounds like a problem with the superintendent.
Okay, so I know we have Ramona, to my understanding, is a sitting superintendent, then we have Hazel, who's been a past superintendent. So hopefully between the two of them, they can clarify that whole issue. Okay,
Yeah,
so
I
Ramona,
really
then
want-
Hazel on that.
Thank you. Really briefly, I want to address what Dale talked about our students in the hallway, and then what Darlene talked about regarding alternatives to suspension, which goes back
Okay.
to what David was talking about.
Okay.
Our students are definitely in the hallway. And so, there's a referral process that we need to be aware of, that our students are referred out of the classroom. So I would suggest that any tracking process really go back to referrals. When I was a principal here at Bret Harte here in Sacramento, I broke down the referrals by teacher name, by subgroup, and put it in front of the teachers and said, what are we going to do about this? I agree with the sister in the back. It starts with the principal. And so once that principal starts with the referrals and really stops having our kids sent out, that's major. Number two, what Darlene talked about with regard to the 1998 action. We have principals just sitting our kids in the office. Who's learning in the office? What are you learning? And so, you know, it starts again with looking at referrals, looking at, if we're looking at alternatives to suspension, then education should continue. If we're looking at alternatives to suspension, it should not be the student sits in the office or the student sits, there's a book called Blackboard, I encourage all of you to read it. The student sits in the basement with a classified staff member, learns nothing, but talk about the prison pipeline. It starts in the referral classroom, in the discipline alternative. It starts when students are sitting in the hallway. That's where it all starts. Our principals and our teachers are the imperative piece with regard to this. When it comes to policy, what I want to say about, and I'm not in my official capacity today, but I will say that in Vallejo, I have already met with the African American community. They've said, we will not tolerate anything. You need anything, you call us. I met with the gay lesbian community. You need anything, you call us. The Latino community and the Filipino community. I'm saying in Sacramento, what's happening with our kids is our fault until we stand up. It is our fault.
Hold on, Darlene. Okay, Hazel, we have a whole line of people, so people are gonna have to respect how to move through this. Ms. Hazel?
Okay, I just want to tell you what the process is, and it usually starts in the classroom. That's where the referral is made. Then it goes to the principal. And many times principals are reluctant to overturn whatever the teacher says. So it stays with the principal, then it goes to the superintendent. They have a closed session where it's presented to the entire board. And what comes out on consent calendar is what happens with our students, and that is the process.
Okay.
And by that time, it's too late.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so, David, did we answer your question, or
No.
you didn't answer our question? Okay, because, hold on, please, because I have like 3 other people who would like to pose questions that's probably not even related to this. So I just want to make sure, can we move off of this so we can get the other
Okay,
people?
just let me
Daryl?
make one last statement.
Okay.
Because I think what I've heard so far is right on track with the issues figured. As a high school principal, middle school principal, for me, first day of school, you see the kids start lining up in the vice principal's office because of those referrals
Right.
that we're talking about. What I've always found consistently is that there's no system of discipline in the whole school.
Right.
And what I mean is, teachers don't want any system because it promotes accountability.
Right.
And the first thing as a principal that I have always done is I make a system that's accountable. If teacher's gonna write a referral, these are the rules in which you write a referral. If you don't write within those rules, you're not getting support from it. Once everybody, stakeholder understands their rules, then it's my job to make everybody uphold those rules. And what makes that possible for me is, of course, I print all the referrals. And I always find there are always 10 teachers who write them all.
That's right,
And so you devote then your resources on those 10 teachers.
right.
And you start getting them out of there if you have to, as quickly as possible. In short order, you can straighten that whole thing up.
Yeah.
Because see, I always remember, if our VP is handling all of discipline, I gotta do all the work. So in my schools, it's not happening.
Okay.
Everybody is in charge of discipline on my campus. And that's the way it should work.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to bring this particular question to a close and go on to other people who have wanted to speak. So this is the lineup right now. I have Suzanne, Darusala, Carl, Mecca, and then Joyce. So Suzanne.
Okay, thank you to the panel and for this presentation. Couple of things I'd like you to just comment on. There are things that I've been pushing for a long time. One is, it's my opinion that we're not going to solve these problems on a school-by-school basis or principal by principal or teacher by teacher. I believe that the system of education in this state is so racist that until we have compliance reviews from K-12 through the university system, it's not gonna get any better. We can't do the whole nation, but I believe we could do California. And I'd like to know what you think about that. Some of the programs I'm working with, I'm a tutor in No Child Left Behind, which is also a track to prison. I'm asked to tutor kids in 2, 3, and 4 grade levels at one time. I'm not paid the amount per student that I would get for tutoring a single student, which isn't much to begin with. I'm paid an additional $10 for students, up to 10 students, above whatever the initial fee is. That means I'm tutoring kids in 3 and 4 grade levels for an hour or an hour and a half. So obviously I can't work at all those levels. So that means most of the time I have some kids doing coloring. And on top of that, the tutors are expected to do most of the paperwork. So the first couple days and the last couple days and a couple days in the middle are shot because we're doing testing. I've read the
Are you a supplement service provider?
I'm working for those companies.
That's why.
Most of those companies there are some that are owned by people of color. Most of them are white owned. Many of them own many such programs in multiple states, and they are making lots of money, and they tell you to dumb the kids down.
Okay, hold on. Can you boil your question down that you would like the panel or folks in the audience to respond to? Is it the compliance review? Is it the tutoring, or is it both, none?
What I'm getting at is that I see the problems in tutoring, the lack of the word racism in closing the gap report. I see the major problem as racism in all of the educational institutions, no matter what they say, no matter how many college programs. Nobody is ever punished for what they do. Nobody is really accountable. And people like me, who are big advocates against racism, are kept out of the system,
Okay.
kept from credentials.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so people, I know everybody wants to talk, and hold on, Ms. Darlene. But people are gonna have, when you pose your question, if you can pose your question concisely, and when you respond to the question, can you respond concisely? And hold on. And it's important that people listen. You need to listen.